Have you ever looked at your dog and felt like something was off? Like they were trying to tell you something, but you just couldn't understand what? Most owners assume that if their dog is eating and wagging their tail occasionally, everything must be fine. But dogs are far more emotionally complex than we give them credit for. And sometimes, the signs they're struggling emotionally are so quiet, so subtle, that we miss them completely, right until the moment they become impossible to ignore. What I'm about to share with you isn't just interesting. It might completely change the way you see your dog. Dogs don't speak in words. They speak in patterns. They speak in small, almost invisible shifts in behavior that, if you know what to look for, reveal exactly what's happening inside their hearts. And today, we're going to learn how to listen. The first thing most owners notice, but almost never connect to emotion, is a change in sleep. Now, dogs sleep a lot. We all know that. But there's a difference between a dog who sleeps because they're relaxed and comfortable and a dog who sleeps because they're withdrawing from the world. When a dog starts sleeping more than usual, retreating to corners they rarely used before, or sleeping in a way that feels almost like they're hiding, that's not laziness. That's a dog who is trying to cope. Sleep, for them, becomes a place to escape from something they don't have the words to process. If your dog used to greet you at the door and now barely lifts their head when you walk in, pay attention. That shift means something. And it's not just about sleeping more. Sometimes it's the opposite. A dog going through something emotionally turbulent may become restless, unable to settle, moving from room to room, circling their bed but never lying down. This kind of restlessness is the dog version of lying awake at 3 a.m. with thoughts that won't stop. Their nervous system is activated. Something inside them is unresolved, and their body can't find peace because their mind hasn't found it either. Then there's appetite. This one is one of the most telling signs of all, and yet so many owners chalk it up to the dog just being picky. But dogs who are emotionally distressed often lose interest in food, sometimes partially, sometimes completely. The same bowl they used to rush toward now sits untouched. And here's what makes it even more heartbreaking. Food, for dogs, is one of the purest forms of joy. When a dog stops caring about eating, something deeper has shifted. Their emotional weight has become heavier than their hunger. On the other side, some dogs respond to emotional stress by eating compulsively, finishing their food too fast, scavenging, or begging in ways they never did before. Both extremes, too much or too little, are the dog trying to self-regulate something they don't know how to handle. But perhaps the most misunderstood sign of all is what happens with physical affection. You might think a dog going through something emotional would want more comfort, more closeness, more cuddles. And sometimes, yes, that's exactly what happens. But sometimes the opposite is true. A dog who is emotionally overwhelmed may actually pull away from touch. They might flinch slightly when petted. They might move just out of reach when you sit near them. This isn't rejection. This is a dog whose nervous system has become so sensitized that even love feels like too much input. They're not pulling away from you. They're pulling away from a world that has become too loud inside their own mind. And then there are the eyes. Scientists who study dog behavior have discovered that dogs, uniquely among all animals, look to the left side of a human face first when reading our emotions. They have evolved specifically to understand us. And so when a dog avoids eye contact with someone they once held loving eye contact with, or when their gaze becomes distant and glassy rather than soft and connected, that's not a dog being aloof. That's a dog who has gone somewhere inside themselves. A dog whose eyes tell you their heart is a little less present than it used to be. You might also notice a change in how your dog responds to play. Play, for dogs, is not optional. It's not a luxury. It's deeply connected to their emotional health. A dog who is emotionally balanced will find joy in play almost instinctively. But a dog who is struggling emotionally loses access to that joy. They may watch you throw the ball and not chase it. They may show no interest in the toy that once sent them into joyful chaos. This is one of the most quietly devastating signs that something is wrong, because it means the dog has lost touch with the version of themselves that could simply be happy. Now, here's something even fewer owners realize. Dogs can carry grief. Real, genuine grief. not a watered-down version of what we experience, but something remarkably close to it. Whether it's the loss of another pet they were bonded to, a change in the household like a family member leaving, or even a shift in a daily routine that gave them structure and security, dogs grieve these losses deeply. And their grief looks a lot like ours. Withdrawal, quietness, searching behavior, where they walk through the house looking for something or someone they can't find, sitting by a door that no longer opens for the person they loved. One of the most powerful things researchers have observed is that dogs in emotional distress often show a profound increase in sighing. Not the satisfied sigh of a dog who has just settled into their bed after a great walk, but the long, slow, almost resigned exhale of a dog who is processing something heavy. If you've heard your dog sigh that way, deep and slow, often when they think no one is watching, now you know what it means. They are carrying something, and they are carrying it quietly, because that's what dogs do. They don't ask for help in ways we immediately recognize. They just endure and hope that someone who loves them notices. There's also something worth understanding about how dogs handle anxiety differently from sadness. An anxious dog may show all of the above signs, but with a kind of nervous energy attached, excessive licking of their paws, repetitive behaviors that become almost ritualistic, yawning in situations that aren't relaxing, or showing the whites of their eyes more than usual. These are tiny alarm bells. They're the dog trying to self-soothe in the only ways their instincts know how. A dog who licks their paws until they're raw isn't being weird. A dog who paces before bedtime every night isn't just being energetic. A dog who yawns every time a new person enters the room isn't sleepy. These are emotional symptoms wearing physical disguises. And once you can see through the disguise, you can begin to understand and help. Because here's what matters most about all of this. Your dog cannot walk up to you and say, "I'm not okay." They cannot explain what's wrong, or why they feel the way they feel, or what they need from you to start feeling better. All they can do is show you. And what this means is that the single greatest gift you can give your dog is not a better toy, or a bigger yard, or an expensive treat. It's your attention, your willingness to notice, your ability to look at them, really look, and ask, "How are you doing?" Because dogs, more than almost any other animal on earth, are capable of unconditional emotional connection. They forgive us for our worst days. They celebrate us on our best ones. They sit with us in silence when words feel like too much. They are endlessly loyal in a world that often isn't. And the very least we can do, the very least we can offer back, is to learn their language. To recognize when their quiet is not peace, but pain. To reach for them when they're struggling, even when they haven't asked us to. Because that is exactly what they would do for us. That is exactly what they have always done. If you watched this and felt something shift, if you found yourself thinking of a moment when your dog was trying to tell you something you didn't fully hear, that awareness alone is already love in action. Pay attention. They are always speaking. We just have to be still enough to listen. That's all for today on Petzen. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next upload.